Assalamu alaikum and hello to dear viewers and listeners. You are here with Israf Tanoli, the researcher. Guys, today I'm going to discuss a very important and significant literary theory, which is post-colonialism. I'm going to discuss this video lecture under different section or under different heading. Firstly, I'm going to explore the history and some definition of post-colonialism. Then I will explore the groundbreaking work of post-colonial literary theory. Afterward, I am going to discuss some key terms that has been repeatedly used in this post-colonial criticism, and toward the end of the video, I'll be discussing some few landmark works that represent the post-colonial literature and post-colonial literary criticism. So first of all, explaining with post-colonialism, what does post-colonialism mean? Basically, post-colonialism is a compound word. It is a combination of two words, post and colonialism. Post means after, and colonialism. So colonialism is a process. Basically, the word colonialism, it comes from the Roman word colonia, which means to form or to settle down in somewhere. So colonialism is a process in which a foreign nation occupies a nation and make a nation slave. So there is a process of slave and owner. So one country becomes owner and another country act as a slave. So a binary of colonizer plus colonized works here in the process of colonialism. So when did this colonialism started? Formally, if we look at, we can trace the roots of colonialism after the Renaissance in Europe, but during the Enlightenment period, the formal beginning of colonialism had begun when the European nations made their colonies in Africa, Asia, Australia, and America, and many other parts of the world. The Daniel Defoe's novel Robinson Crusoe is the first and prime example of post-colonial work that has been written at that period. So we can say that the resistant literature that has been written in the world about the binary of colonizer and colonized is called post-colonialism. And, and so in order to understand post-colonialism, we have to understand the binary of colonizer plus colonized. So it is a key to understand post-colonial literature or post-colonial criticism. As we discuss in structuralism, the Ferdinand de Chaucer's binary of signifier and signified. It is a key to understand the structuralist literary theory. As in the case of Marxist literary criticism, I discussed the binary of haves and have-nots, and while taking the case of feminist criticism, the binary of male and female in terms of power relation exists. So the same goes for post-colonial criticism and literature. Here, the binary of colonizer and colonized work in a close relation with each other. So this binary colonizer plus colonized made a process which is called colonization. So now we are looking at the history of colonialism in India. When did colonialism formally started in India? We can look when we look at the history, we can see that during the Mughal period or Mughal era, when the Britishers and different European countries came to India and they discussed their business plan with the Mughal rulers of the India, and them the they had given them a free hand to do business over here, and they made East Indian companies. So from there onward, the colonialism in India has started. So when we are looking at the post-colonial criticism or post-colonial literature, how can we say that from where post-colonial criticism or post-colonial literature has arisen? When the freedom movements all across the colonized nations or colonized countries emerges, the colonizers become weaker and they started to flee their colonies. So the process of decolonization has started. So when countries got their freedom and they decolonized themselves from their former colonial master. So these people of colonies looked back at the at the history, at the culture, at the race, at the language of theirs, and they come to know that how colonial masters done injustices with their culture, language, and all sort of things. So a new kind of literature has emerged, and which the colonized natives or the marginalized ones spoke against the injustices that are being done by the colonizers on them is called post-colonialism. When we say that, when did the post-colonial literature academically started? So in the realm of academia, we can say that the post-colonial criticism and literature has started with the publication of Edward Said's landmark book Orientalism, that he has published in year 1978. So here important point is that the post-colonial literature has rejected the idea of universalism or globalism. It uplifted the idea of regionalism or comparative literature. So when we looked at why the need of this colonialism, why the colonial period started. So what was the motive of the colonial nation in order to brought this project? So the motive of the colonizer are that West is superior and rest are inferior. West is superior and rest are inferior. This is a key phrase in order to understand this concept of colonialism. So the colonizers came to the land of colonized with a motive that colonized individuals or colonized nation are brutal, they are barbaric, they are savages, they are uncivilized, uncultured, unmannered, and they have nothing original. And so there is a need that they should be civilized, they should be educated, they should be cultured, they should be mannered. So they met condition that they have lacks in these areas. So we are here in order to fill those lacks, in order to make them civilized. So they came with this idea and this motive, but at the end of the day, when they left their countries, we came to know that this is a false agenda. The only agenda is that in order to loot the resources of the countries after colonized, they have no purpose in order to build up those people, in order to educate those people, in order to inculcate good values in those people. No such purpose was involved. But the only and only purpose is that in order to loot, in order to plunder, in order to do well-being for their own citizens, means the citizens of the colonizer state. So this is the motive behind the colonialism, which has been later on unmasked by the post-colonial writers. The writings of H.E.B. Things Fall Apart, we can see such things, while Heart of Darkness also explores these things. A Passage to India, and Burnt Shadow, and A God of Small Thing, and many other works unmask all sort of these negative things that the colonizer had done with the colonized individual. Now at the second hour of the video, we are going towards what are some major groundbreaking work of post-colonial literary theory. Post-colonial literary theory's work started with Frantz Fanon and his publication of The Wretched of the Earth in 1961, Black Skin, White Mask. Frantz Fanon was fighting with French colonizer in the Algeria, and he wrote the work like The Wretched of the Earth, where he says that you have to use violence in order to decolonize yourself. And in the Black Skin and White Mask, he spoke up of the black consciousness. Then we have got Edward Said in the line of post-colonial scholars, and he wrote the work like Orientalism, the landmark work in the history of post-colonial literary theory. Then we have got Culture and Imperialism, that he had written in the year 1993. Afterward, we have got Indian scholar and a post-colonial scholar, Homi Bhba, and he wrote the work like The Location of Culture, Nation and Narration, and he had given the concept of mimicry, hybridity, ambivalence, and many other important concepts that he had given to this field of post-colonial literature. Then we have got another Indian critic Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak, and she wrote the work Can the Subaltern Speak, in which she has spoke about the feminine voice and the issues that the females of colonized nation faces. And then she also wrote works like Another Words in 1987. Afterward, we got Ania Lombia, Ashcroft, The Empire Rests Back, the work, and we have also got Ajaz Ahmed, and was also a post-colonial scholar, and he had worked in this field. So then we are going to discuss them. What are the major concepts that this major concept, or what are those key terms that this post-colonial literature, as post-colonial literature or post-colonial literary theory is an umbrella terms. It covers a lot of terms. So what are those key terms that this umbrella terms or this flag means that have this under this? So under the umbrella of post-colonial criticism, we have got the terms like othering, as you can guess that othering means that you are not me, and I am not among you. The idea of us was that you are inferior and I am superior. So this set of concept that these colonizer had built or inculcated in the mind of the colonized species. Then we have got concept like Orientalism, dehumanization, the concept of violence that they imparted in the mind of the colonized, black consciousness, as I told in the case of Frantz Fanon. Then the concept like subaltern, as Spivak told us. Then mimicry, hybridity, ambivalence, as Homi Bhba has had a brief discussion on them, and has landmarks work on the post-colonial literary theory. We have got the concept diaspora, hegemony, metropolitanism, and at not least but at last we can say that identity crisis that the colonizers had inculcated at the hearts and the mind of the colonized nation. So there is a long list of concepts which are being covered under the umbrella of the post-colonial criticism. Then now we are looking at some representative works that post-colonial literatures that means those works represent post-colonial literature, or they embodies or signifies post-colonial literature. We have got works like Things Fall Apart by African writer H.E.B. Where H.E.B. unmasked the real face of the colonizer. Means that they came up with this motive that they are going to civilize those nations, but that idea was also made on falsehood, and there was no such idea that they are doing good to the colonized, but they are just looting and plundering them, as we have seen in the novel Things Fall Apart. That before the advent of the colonizer, everything is going in a right direction, but when those colonial masters came, then the culture, language, and all sort of things of the Igbo culture and society has been ruined. Then we have got the novels like Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, where we see the very bad or the miserable situation of African peoples. Then we have got now like Kim Lord Jim by Kipling, and Kipling has uttered a very famous statement that East is East, West is West, and never shall the twain meet. Then we have got the novel like A Passage to India by M. Foster, where we come to know about the scene at the Marabar cave when Miss Adila Queste attempted Dr. Aziz in charge of rape, but that was all hallucination. And then we have got the work like Robinson Crusoe, as I told you in the start of the video. Then we can say that the Shakespeare's work, even Tempest, Othello, can be termed as a post-colonial work. Then we have got the work like God of Small Thing by Arundhati Roy. Camilla Shamsi's Burnt Shadows, also sort of a post-colonial literature. post-colonial works that shows the sparks of post-colonial notions or post-colonial concepts and it and toward the end of the video we can say that all the resistance literature that has been written in the colonized countries or in the colonizer country about the boundary of colonizer plus colonized falls under the flag of post-colonialism. So post-colonialism is a never-ending discipline. It goes on because as the colonialism has lasted for years and years, so this goes for years and years. So it is impossible to cover all the stops of the post-colonialism in one video. So I'll be intending to make different videos on post-colonial concept like othering and many other concepts, and particularly like hybridity, mimicry, subaltern, and all these sort of things. So keep watching my YouTube channel for further videos on literary theory, and do subscribe my channel if you like, and do tell me in the comments section if you like. Okay, thanks. Bye.